Beast. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Hattie Bees. Change of hat today. Everyone that's been watching the podcast so far. Day 10 and I've finally changed my hat.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, you got a good one.
Got a good one, yeah. I thought
Yeah.
I was going to buy a t-shirt, but t-shirts just get killed, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Kill t-shirts. Cool, let's get cracking.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks for inviting us to Nashville, first off.
Yeah.
Or inviting us to your side of Nashville. We've been in East, which seemed a pretty cool little area, but this is a 5-minute walk down to the sort of boardwalk downtown area. So that's cool, and thanks for inviting us into your shop. So the first question is, who is Brad?
All right. So Brad is me. So I'm Brad. I've been in ceramics for 15, 16 years, working on that. I'm from Tennessee native, from Northwest Tennessee, like the middle of nowhere. You won't have heard of it. Where I'm from, like the largest natural lake in the state. We have a lot of like hydroelectric power in the state of Tennessee, but not many like large natural lakes.
Okay.
So it's over there close to the Mississippi River. I attended college over there at UTM and started studying ceramics with a guy named David Macbeth after determining that engineering was not for me. Got real tired of math after
You're an
getting
engineer.
into it.
Yeah, I'm an engineer and I'm real tired of maths.
Yeah, you just get real tired of the math. And I got into art in college. I always liked it, but in college I got more into it and determined that computers were also not for me. So graphic design was not the way I wanted to go. Tried my first ceramics class and was bitten by the mud bug and just never looked back. After that, I interned / apprenticed with Lewis Snyder in Murfreesboro. He started the clay program at MTSU and got that all going. And then went back to college and got a degree in art education and have been teaching ceramics since then. So I've been teaching at Metro Nashville Public Schools for about 8 years. And then I met Rowan, who owns the building, through some friends, and he was like, I have a ceramic studio. Do you want to run my ceramic studio? I was like, sure.
What a good concept
sounds good. So yeah, that's
how it all started.
That's how it all got here. And then we just been building it for a year.
Nice.
And who is Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah. It's me. I have about 2 years in ceramics, but my background is mostly in other arts. So I have a studio art degree, a BFA in studio art from a university in Nashville, Lipscomb. And I've been working in nonprofits and education for about 5 years. And I wound up here when I left my last job, which was a museum, and happened to know Brad and asked him if he was looking for anyone. That's how I got here.
I was like, yes, in fact.
I know a lot about public programming and education, so now I schedule the classes here, find teachers.
It's a good
for
partnership.
what we want to do.
Yeah, it really worked out. So we were talking about like what we were doing at the first Tennessee Potter Society meeting back in September.
That sounds right.
Yeah, last September. And Sarah was like, oh, you do a nonprofit pottery studio. That's neat. And she texted me a couple of months later and she was like, do you need some help?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys are going to still be in town tomorrow, but tomorrow is our second Tennessee Potter Society meeting.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
if you wanted to pop by.
Unfortunately, we won't be. We're starting to head down south to Columbia tomorrow.
Oh, okay, fun.
Not
Yeah.
Columbia the country, but Columbia, Tennessee. So,
Yeah.
What is it? Mule Town? Yeah, they do lots of mule stuff, I think, in Columbia.
Oh, really?
Like a mule festival.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're finding crazy stuff about every country. I mean, we're like,
everywhere.
oh, we don't have enough time.
I know. We need to come back for a longer time.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, Tennessee's it's a very interesting and diverse place.
It's a wild place.
Yeah, very much so.
People are just doing all sorts of crazy things everywhere.
I like
So,
it.
where I'm from is known for corn,
Oh, okay.
growing corn.
There you are.
I don't even know what Knoxville's known for. World's Fair, probably.
University of Tennessee.
University of Tennessee.
Yeah, huge arts and sort of makers.
Yeah.
Maker City.
The Maker City kind of things, branded as they are. A lot of makers in Chattanooga as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's certainly that east side of Tennessee. You know, if you were to draw a straight line between Chattanooga and Knoxville, it kind of works southeast from there, seems to be packed.
Yeah.
Full of makers.
It's just mountain makers.
Yeah, the closer you get to the mountains, the more makers you find.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we here?
I'm sorry? Where are we?
Where are we? We've talked about who you guys are personally, but
Yeah.
what about the business?
Okay, so
Old School Farm Pottery.
Old School Farm Pottery is a nonprofit that is a division of Old School Farm, which is over in Ashland City. And our mission is to provide safe and equitable work opportunities for adults with special needs.
Right.
So we employ 2 to 3 adults here that have special needs that work behind the scenes with us. And then out on the farm, we employ 10 more that help on the farm growing vegetables and taking care of chickens and working in the hydroponic greenhouses that they're doing over there. So beyond that, though, like everything that we grow at the farm is donated to local food banks that are free for people to go get any kind of produce that they need to get.
I'd like to check that farm out sometime. Maybe the next time we come back, we'll hit you up to check the farm out.
Yeah, please
I love
do.
a hydroponic system.
It's really neat. Like Old School Farm had, like, it sounds like the weirdest name, but the farm is in an old school. So
okay, so that's why it's there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's Old School Farm, and then the pottery was in the basement. The basement flooded all the time. They wanted to get the pottery out of the basement. And then we got the opportunity to move into this big building downtown.
Which is amazing, by the way.
Yeah, thank you very much. We've worked very hard on it, but we got the go ahead to move in here in March of 2022 and moved in and have been going since.
And how was that moving into a building like this straight off the back of lockdown? When did lockdown finish for you guys over here? Because for us it was like March 2022.
Lockdown over here ended in like December of 2020.
If even.
Yeah, if even.
Yeah.
So as a teacher, Metro Nashville Public Schools went back later than everybody else did in the state, and I was back teaching in March of 2021.
Okay.
Before even the vaccines were all the way out. So
where I was working, we restarted summer camp in July 2020.
Really?
Yeah. So it really did not last very long in Tennessee specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times in Tennessee. People are like, what lockdown?
We're known for
and I'm
a
like,
couple
I
things.
lost 2 years of my life. And you guys are like, a couple months.
Yeah, like maybe. Yeah.
That's mad.
A lot of people were still being careful. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't just like
we were all wearing
all
masks.
willy-nilly,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I think we wore masks until like 22 probably.
Yeah. They let the schools stop wearing masks in January of 22.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
It filtered out from there.
Yeah, the mask situation was long.
It was a long time, yeah.
But anyway.
yeah, anywho.
We digress.
So after COVID, that's when we found out that the building was going to be available for us to move in. And Rowan, the guy who owns the whole thing, built out everything for us and was just a huge donor, basically, for
Okay, so he's
for
not
the
just your
business.
landlord, he's
Yeah.
someone that's very invested in the business.
Yeah.
That's good. That must help when it comes to...
It really truly does. Like, so in October of last year, we got started, we were doing great, and then in October, the main sewer line for the building broke under the concrete, right in front of right in the kitchen. So we just had all sorts of nice things come out of the drains into the floor.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. So
How organic, eh?
yeah, it was.
What great timing.
It was a great time. So that happened, and we obviously closed for a while. And
Understandably, yep.
Yeah, I had some plumbers come out, and they dug an 18-inch wide trench from the bathroom that you saw all the way back to the back door. So like 80 feet. That was 3 feet deep. Wow. And replaced the entire drain line and poured new concrete. And
What a job.
yeah, so that was completed in January, and we've been trying to get everything back up to snuff since then. So
Done a pretty good job, I have to say.
well, thank you.
Yeah, that's not a long time for,
it's not.
you know,
Yeah.
we're sat here, and for anyone listening in the future, or we're sat here in 25th March. So that's quite a big turnaround,
Yeah.
considering you didn't have a floor for a chunk of that.
Giant hole in the floor. It was a good time. So
So were you operational before that leak, or were you just
Yeah.
in setup position?
we were operational for 3 months,
Right.
and then the pipe happened, and then we were not operational anymore. So in those 3 months, we had people coming in for pottery classes. We had courses going on. We had a different studio in the back called the Warren. That was a bunch of local illustrators that were all working together. And then when all that happened and all the construction, they just didn't want to be in that spot anymore. So,
Yeah, understandably as well.
yeah.
And how was it going in that first 3 months?
In the 3 months, we were doing great. We were doing really well. We had a lot of interest. We were building more interest and had a ton of people coming in. It was rare for us to find a class that wasn't full.
Amazing.
That's good. And how many classes a week were you running?
Then we were running 4 classes a week and 2 courses. So our courses are multi-week events. So they're like you come in for 3 hours a day, once a week to learn how to make pots. And then the classes were 2 hours. Okay. So people would come in, try out the potter's wheel, make a thing, tell us what they wanted it to be glazed as. We would glaze it up and then ship it to them wherever they were, if they were from out of town. So we would ship to, where are you guys from? Scotland?
Glasgow, Scotland.
Scotland. So we would ship it to Scotland and be like, maybe it made it.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. So we would just ship it to you guys. And,
All right, cool.
Yeah. So we were full most of the time.
And what about that, obviously that period of closure, because you've not started back up now, have you?
Yeah, our grand opening is next Saturday.
There you go.
So April
you get
1st,
to start up.
no joke, we're going to be open again.
Yeah. And what's that going to look like for you as a space? You know, you're obviously highly involved in that from a teaching point of view and programming it, but you've got a space here, you've got multiple spaces. Talk us through everything that you're offering here, because it's pretty impressive.
Sure. Are you talking like just at the grand opening, or
No,
you want to
just
know
general,
like just
yeah.
in general?
Let's do both, whatever you
All
want.
right. So at the grand opening, that's when all of our classes are going to go live. They're programmed from April 1st through July 1st.
The end of June. Yeah.
So 3 months of classes are programmed. If you come in on the grand opening, you'll see people in the store selling stuff. You'll go into the classroom. Teachers will be in there demonstrating the techniques that you'll be learning in a class if you decide to take one with us. Same thing in the pottery. You'll see people making pots, getting ready to go, and then we'll have someone in the kiln post telling everybody what that's about.
We'll have the show opening that day too.
And we have a show opening at the same time.
That'll be
So
that will be the currently unknown artists exhibition. So it's students in Metro Nashville public schools.
We want to take a few minutes out to say thank you to the Russell and the Gallatin Hotel. The Russell and the Gallatin are part sponsors of this Nashville leg of our American tour, and quite frankly, without help from them and companies like them, this American tour would not be possible, and we would not be able to bring you the stories of some of these amazing makers over in the States.
Yeah, we just want to say thanks for helping us with our mission, and it's a mission we're really passionate about, so yeah, thanks.
If you want to find out more about the Gallatin and the Russell's mission, you can find out more in our recent podcast with Micah Locher, the owner and founder of both hotels.
And stay joyful.
It's when you teach in Metro Nashville public schools, as long as I have, you see needs, and finding a place where you can accommodate those needs feels very special. And that's what I've found here. So that's what I'm going to try and do.
And is all the needs that you're trying to answer here from your own teaching background? Is that what? So we always say like we're qualified to do this magazine because Kate's been a maker time and time and time again and seen how difficult it is to do it. That's what makes us qualified to do the magazine. Is that what makes you guys qualified to do this? You've been in the metro schools, you've taught in this area.
I think it definitely helps. Like it definitely lends some credibility to what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it. Definitely lends some connections, so I can get people coming in here and get their kids coming in here and doing what we need to do. I think anybody could do it though. I don't think it's specifically because I'm a teacher. Like if anyone saw that need, they could build a space like this.
I disagree.
You think, okay?
Yeah, I disagree because what you've said there is very contradictory in itself. You've said anybody that saw the need, but you've been able to see the need because you've been teaching. Not anyone's going to be able to see that need. So I agree with you. I agree with you and I disagree with you, which is quite common for me.
Ain't that just the way?
Yeah. So I agree with you, if anyone saw the need, yes, of course, they could buckle up and get it done. Like, we're all very capable human beings in this world, no matter what your background is. But you've been able to see the need because of your personal experience.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know?
Yeah.
That side of it. So, what about this space as well that we're sat in today? We've got the shop as well, because you're planning a retail space. But we've talked obviously about your courses and stuff, and I don't want to stop on that because the courses do sound fantastic, but there's so many different layers to what you're doing in this.
Yeah.
In this, what looks like a very small building from the front, but goes very far back.
It's a deceptive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the storefront that we're in right now is called Farm and Clay, and the focus of this room is just to highlight Nashville makers, Tennessee makers, and give them a place where they can put their work and sell their work on a commission basis.
Right.
Like, we don't have the money to buy a bunch of inventory, so we're just doing a 50-50 commission split with any artist that wants to show with us. Nice. People who are a part of the Kiln Post or teach here or anything like that, we do a slightly different split, but we'll take care of their work as well. So on top of that, we're also going to be carrying, like over here, we're going to be carrying mushroom blocks so people can like grow their own mushroom kits at home. And we're going to have flowers behind you at the new oak table that was built this week. And flowers from the farm and dried flowers and salves and stuff that they make at the farm. So we can have a place to sell all that stuff and then give that money back to the farm and help even more people out.
That's a good story. I like that. That's I love it.
What's the link with the farm? Are you related, or have you just always been involved with the farm, or does the farm help fund this?
Yeah, so Old School Farm Pottery, it, like I said, was a division of Old School Farm, which is the farm. And when we had the big pipe burst, Rowan asked me if I wanted to try and figure out a way to make the farm even more prevalent in the building. And I spent 5 months doing that. And now here we are, and we're very interconnected.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
How do you think that helps you here?
How does it help?
I mean, the farm already has name recognition. Like, I have several friends who like have degrees in psychology or art therapy, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be working at Old School Farm Pottery, and they were like as an old school farm. So like, like the name recognition for that, like definitely helps, I think, with building more of a community with the pottery in this location. You were going to say something, sorry.
Yeah, I think it gives us a lot of credibility, and it gives us stability as well. It gives us that little bit of financial backing that we need in order to serve everyone that we want to serve. It allows us to have this building and be able to do the things that we want to do in it.
Yeah, it's going to allow you to have pretty rapid growth as well, having, I don't obviously know the financial standing of Old School Farm. It's not something that we've heard of back in the UK, but just having that sort of, not fallback, but having that behind you, it just allows you maybe to take a few more risks, to build this place out a little bit higher standard, to, you know, like you were saying, to get that extra 4 pottery wheels to take you from 8 to 12. It feels like it's just going to be a real good catalyst and accelerator for you, is that right?
Yeah, I hope so. We're gonna try to do it. Like,
that's
my wife would tell me that you can't just try, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
I like that, Sam.
Yep, I like that. And what about the the courses and everything now starting back up, have you started releasing your courses yet? Have people been able to book on them? Have you noticed a real good uptick in them? Is there a world within Nashville that really wants a place like this to be here?
Yes,
Right.
100%. So there is a similar business to us. It's called the Clay Lady Campus in Mid-South Ceramics, which is like 2 miles that way. And they run a very similar operation and just way bigger than what we are. And their courses went live on Wednesday, and they completely filled up with a 50-person waiting list within 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
That just shows you this is needed
their
here
courses.
now.
Yeah, there's a huge need and a huge desire for people to learn about pottery and learn about art, and we're going to help fill that niche as much as we can.
People want to play with mud.
People want to get dirty.
Like,
man.
that's what they want to do.
People want to get dirty.
Like-
so when we did our courses before, we had one completely full course of 8 people, and then one with 6 people in it. And our new batch of courses are going to go live on April 1st, along with our grand reopening. So everything is going to hit the ground on April 1st and be ready to go.
Nice.
I think like every place that offers clay classes in Nashville fills up within a couple of hours. Like even the like kids, because where I last was, we did summer camp, and the ceramics camps were like almost always the first to go, and usually had the longest waiting list, because like it's a really niche thing. Like you have to have very specialized equipment for it.
Yep.
This is true. So when there's an opportunity to go in and like try it,
It's not something you can just start, is it?
No.
Why do you think ceramics is so big here?
There's quite a few pottery.
Yeah. Is it because of that Kentucky, Tennessee, River Valley? The sort of, because I know from speaking to Red Rock yesterday, from a tile perspective, that is the clay to use. You know, we went up into Kentucky, and even the Italians and Spanish have all got big factories along that valley.
Yeah.
That's probably part of it.
We got a lot of clay in our soil here.
So where I'm from, Union City, Tennessee, 2 towns over, they mine tile clay. Like, they just dig it up out of the dirt. So where I'm from, you can literally just dig it up and make something. And
Really?
just throw it in.
It's just ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't know what temperature to fire it at yet, but you can just dig it out of the ground
Nice.
and make stuff. So I'm sure the ready availability of materials is definitely part of it, but I think there's just something so inherently human and connective about working with clay, working with dirt, that once you experience it, you don't want to stop.
Well, I haven't yet, so I should really try something.
No, we'll have to go back there and
There's
get you
a
on the
whole
potter
studio
trail.
back there.
We'll have to get you on it.
We keep saying it, and you know, Tracy offered it, and you know,
That we've seen
everyone,
at the start,
everyone that we've been with, it's like, oh, we need to do it, and we just never leave enough time to do it.
I know, that's crazy. I know.
But I mean, I do wonder if it does come down to that, like, not a primal thing, but certainly like an early days human thing of making beakers with mud.
I think it.
You know?
I think it certainly does. I think it's so tactile, and I think that tactile nature of it is also something that we lack a lot of in the modern era. We do so much scrolling and so much staring at screens that, when you really think about it, are just flat.
Yeah.
And
This is true.
and then you come and you start making something with dirt, and it's this 3D object in front of you, and you've made it with your hands, and maybe it's worked and maybe it hasn't.
And you
it's-
can actually use it.
And you can use it.
Yeah.
You don't have to use it.
No.
You can. Like, it's just.
Thanks, I made it is like the biggest power move.
It's just something completely different than what we deal with every day.
I think like the whole COVID thing might also play into it a little bit, because, you know, we're all just stuck at home for a while. And I know there's like this really big movement in like healing your inner child. And there's like nothing more like healing your inner child than literally playing with dirt, or like exploring some art medium or learning a new thing, and just like, I think people just want to play and have fun, and are giving themselves the opportunity to do that.
And Brad, do you still get a lot of time to make?
Yeah.
You know, having 16 years in ceramics and then moving over to the teaching side, I could see if you treated them as 2 separate things, that could be quite difficult.
Yeah, I don't get a whole lot of time to make pots. I make pots probably like 2 to 3 hours a week.
Right.
Like, not a whole lot, but between doing my regular job and working 50 hours a week at the school and then working 20 hours a week here and then making pots for 3 hours a week, I'm like, I just want to go sleep. Like, I don't have anything left. So I am getting ready to transition away from teaching, and I'm going to be coming here and working here full time.
Right.
And
so at the moment, you're still teaching part-time?
I'm teaching through till May, and I'm going to finish out the school year because I don't want to leave the people at my school high and dry. Like, I've been with them for nearly a decade. I'm not going to.
Big move, and
I'm not going to just be like, so I've been planning this transition for 3 years to move away from doing that to doing something different. I just never knew what it was that I wanted to do, and then with this opportunity, it just all lined up, and it's time for me to do that change. And I'm very excited to come in and make pots and show people how to make pots and go around and.
And do you think that you'll get more time to make your own pots when you go full time here? Or
probably not.
But you seem quite happy about that. You seem like this is just another stage in another, as it was put to me the other day, another season in your life that you're here to teach now rather than do.
I just do everything behind the scenes and make sure everybody has the capacity to come in and learn how to do a new skill. That's what I'm passionate about. I wouldn't have taught ceramics for 8 years if I didn't want people to know how to make ceramics and just enjoy themselves when they do it.
Do you think a place like this would have been as popular or the other place? Sorry, I didn't catch the name of the place. The other place you mentioned, that was always sold out.
Oh, Mid-South Ceramics.
Mid-South Ceramics. Do you think places like that would be as popular if they were in more suburban areas or places where people do have space? Do you think a lot of the reason that these are so popular is because in cities people tend not to have space?
I think a big portion of it is more about people wanting to do it than them having the space for it. Obviously, we feel that we solve that problem for a lot of people here, but the studio I apprenticed with in Murfreesboro had a ton of people come to it too, and there's the houses in Murfreesboro are much larger with much more room, and people can do whatever they want in their houses down there, but they would still come to the pottery. And I think it's because this is one of those things where it feels like magic. So it's nice to have someone to show you the magic and show you how to make that magic instead of you trying to do it all on your own.
Right. So there's an element of, rather than just watching a million YouTube videos and trying to work out how to do it, you can actually hands-on pass on how to do it, and you think
it's very different watching a YouTube video on how to center a piece of clay and then watching someone in a class center a piece of clay and then having that person grab your hands and show you what to do. It's a very different thing.
It's experiences.
It feels that way, doesn't it? That because you're actually, and it is a hands-on craft. You know, we could all watch YouTube videos time and time again, or read up on how to do it, but actually until you've done it for real, and like you say, the startup cost is difficult.
It's pretty astronomical. I'm sure you can do it for really cheap if you wanted to, but
I don't know. Then you also have to have the correct wiring and the insurance for a kiln.
Are you going to get the results that you're looking for if you're doing it as cheaply as possible too?
Yeah, probably
so,
not.
I mean, we have $10,000 worth of kilns just in one room, and each one of those potter's wheels is $1,500. So it adds up really quick.
Even just getting the potter's wheel to give it a try. So for a lot of people, it's a bit of a you're going out on a bit of a whim just to get the wheel, which is the basic starting point, really, isn't it? Mud and a wheel.
I mean, you can certainly do it without it, but like when you think of pottery, that's what you think of. Like you think of spinning something on the wheel and it turning in your hands and it being really muddy and messy. You don't think about putting a piece of paper on your dining room table and rolling a piece of clay out with a rolling pin.
I mean, plenty of people do that.
But it is a great way to work.
Yeah.
But that is not what people think of, and it's not what interests them. Right. It's that expensive potter's wheel. It's the glazes in the kiln. Like I can't wait until we take over that building next door and we put in a giant, like 14 cubic foot gas firing kiln so I can do cone 10 reduction fires again.
Right.
I haven't done those in 12 years. I'm very excited to do those. So, yeah.
There's plenty of room for you, and you talked earlier about taking over the building next door. There's plenty of room for you guys to build on this, you feel, yeah?
Oh, yeah. The building next door is slightly smaller than what this one is, but there's still
Loads of
space.
tons of space. That one's 4,000 square feet, whereas this one's 5,000.
Right.
So
still big buildings. Though.
Still 4 times as big as my house.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, big buildings.
But you spend as much time here as you do yours.
Yeah,
exactly. Probably more, yeah. So the back room as well, so to go back to the space, and the reason I was asking the question about if you think the space is what makes places like this successful in a city environment, you guys had quite a nice idea for the back, and I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So 12 years ago, when I got out of college and got into the ceramics world, I couldn't really find a place to work, and I couldn't get the money to build my own place to do what I love doing. So I searched out different alternatives. And then when this opportunity came up, I wanted to build a space that people getting into this hobby and this craft wouldn't have to go through that struggle that I went through. So in our back room, we're building a thing called the kiln post. There's a meaning behind kiln post. Well, I'll tell you that in a minute. But the kiln post is going to function as basically a low rent studio space for burgeoning artists that are just coming up. Well, we take old artists, of course. Like if you know how to do stuff, like please come and teach other people. But we're gonna do a low rent studio space back there. You rent a small portion of that room, build it out how you want. We'll have some of the equipment that you can use for free, and we're gonna provide like kiln space for our people to fire their pots and make their careers and build their careers from the dirt up and build it out. And that is not a thing that existed when I got started. Right. And I'm very excited to provide that opportunity for new artists here. From there, we're hoping to expand that concept into the building next door, and that's going to be how that works out. So.
And would the building next door be entirely those spaces, those 8 foot by 8 foot spaces?
So there would be a storefront up front and then the entire rest of the building. So a space about as big as this would be the storefront over there, and then the rest of the building would be spaces.
Are you able to join these 2 storefronts together, or would they be 2 separate things?
I don't know. Like, I've asked if we can cut a big hole in the wall, and they looked at me funny. Right. But I don't know. I can't remember if they're like sandwiched together, or if it's the same wall, or if it's 2 walls that are sandwiched, or what. But
yeah, it'd be a sliding door or something.
Yeah.
But your landlord, from everything that we've spoken about, your landlord seems very into what you're doing as well.
Yeah, he wants us to succeed here and expand into different parts of Nashville. And
oh, really?
Yeah, he wants us. He wants the best. He wants us to really.
Yeah. Well, good.
I think I've also seen him here like almost every day that I've been here.
I'm surprised he's not here right now.
Honestly, same.
That's cool.
He's here all the time.
Yeah,
that's good. How important do you think that's been to the success of this thus far?
That is probably the number 1 or 2 reason why we've been successful.
Right.
Having that person who can financially back us and give us the opportunity to figure out how to use the space and be behind us when the pipe bursts and like help us out when that happens, and just he's been great, and I'm happy to have met him a year and a half ago.
Yeah, only a year and a half ago. Wow.
Yeah. We've been building like crazy.
Yeah, amazing.
Just quickly before we move on, I want to go back to you said there was the post-fired.
Oh yeah, the kiln post.
Kiln post, that's it.
So it's kind of a double meaning. So a post is like a place where you go and you can post up and make something. Like you can sit there. So that's what that's going to be. And then in a kiln, you set shelves in a kiln so you can layer it all the way up to the top. And a kiln post is the pieces that you put in between your shelves to hold the shelves up.
Yeah, that's what Bert was talking about.
Yeah.
So the kiln post, we are functioning as the piece underneath you to hold you up in the kiln.
very apt.
Yeah,
Right.
very
Yeah.
apt.
It's really sweet.
It is sweet.
Yeah, it works. It's good.
Stroke of genius.
Yeah. Guys, we've asked you loads of questions. Is there anything you want to discuss about your business and what's going on that we've not touched on yet? You know, what do some of these courses look like? What do you hope to build those courses into, etc., etc.?
So our courses are largely self-driven. So you come in and you might have an idea that you want to pursue, and then we provide a teacher that helps guide you along that path.
That's cool.
So instead of it being the beginners all in one class, you might be in there with somebody who has 10 years of experience and just wanted to try something different. So it's all just what you want to do. I had one person making tic-tac-toe boards. That's what she really wanted to do. And other people were making plates, and other people were making pictures, and some people were hand building and coiling pots and doing all sorts of stuff. So it's really just what you want to learn at the speed that you want to learn it. Okay. And then we're here to help make sure you're not making some crazy huge mistake that's going to
hurt later on.
Just mess you up forever, you know? We're just here to provide the space and provide the expertise so you can learn. I think the way people learn best is by doing. There's no amount of me telling you how to make a pot that's going to help you go make a pot.
Yeah, you just need to go and do it, try it.
You just got to go do it.
There's also like that thing of like just being like, you've never done this before, so you're a beginner and you're going to do this. I cannot learn that way. I literally just had this conversation with my spouse, whereas like I am physically incapable of starting at a beginner level. Like I have to challenge myself, and I also like that the courses, like if you come in, you've never done it before, obviously there are some foundation things that you're going to learn, but like I like that you're not confined to like, no, you've never done this before, so you have to do this. Like,
These are the steps you have to follow them, just like this. That's good.
And how do you see the courses progressing and evolving? Do you think they'll always remain like that, or do you think with more space, with more funding, with more notoriety, they can build into a bigger thing? Or are you quite happy with them to? Because it'd be very easy for them to get like more advanced and bigger kit, but then you're also taking away from that beginner level, aren't you?
I think that's what the classes are for. So like the courses are the multi-week thing, like, you know, you come in for 9 weeks straight on a specific day and do whatever. But then the classes for like the ceramics specifically are things like make your own cup. So if you want to come in and just like very specifically learn how to hand build a cup, or like ocarinas are, I think, our favorite one.
I love making ocarinas.
So like, you want to know how to make a musical instrument with mud? Great, let's do that. And that feels like a little more advanced, a little more specialized.
It's like a little roll in it. It's like
it's like a little flute.
It's like a flute, but sort of small. That's the one.
I'll show you a couple. I've got like 3 or 4 back there.
They're really cool.
Is it quite a common thing to make them in ceramics?
To make ocarinas?
Yeah, in ceramics.
I don't think so. I don't think a lot of people.
I wonder if that was like the history.
It's really fun, but it's very like. It's kind of a weird thing. Like most people make cups and mugs and bowls and
I feel like you wouldn't
like
go to a 9-week course and be like, I'm going to spend this whole time making ocarinas. Like, that I would love that person.
Sounds fun, but like I think it's not. That is not your standard thing that you think of when you think of something made of clay.
I think if we wanted to get into teapots, that would have to be a course.
Yeah,
so teapots are cool.
So we're probably gonna do, like after I leave teaching, we'll probably do shorter courses that are for more advanced people. Right. And they'll be about a specific topic. So like, we'll do a 5-week course on Raku firing. And
so excited.
I'm doing a Raku fire next Thursday for all my staff, for us to just hang out before the grand opening and drink some beer and catch a trash can on fire.
It's fun.
It'll be a good time.
Potters really love playing with mud and really love setting things on fire. And that's all I've learned in the last 2 years.
Sounds ideal to be honest.
You just need to like mud and fire.
I've only burned off
set.
all the arm hair on my arms a few times.
You know, it's casual. It's fine.
It's not a big deal. So I'm excited to offer those more advanced courses that are during the day, and they are more geared for people who know that this is what they want to do. But at the same time, we're going to keep our other courses the same. We'll just make them bigger so people can come in and still go the direction they want to go. And then if they find out that this Raku thing is really fun, they can take the Raku course with me and we'll dive into it and talk about the specifics for making wares that are good for going into a Raku kiln and pulling them out at 2,000 degrees and them not exploding.
Yeah.
Right.
And what the environments do in the kiln to make the glazes do what they do.
Right.
We can dig a little deeper in those more specialized classes.
Yeah.
Once they've got a prerequisite understanding.
Yeah.
Rather than just throwing them in the...
It would be really difficult for a beginner to go in and start making stuff for Raku.
That would be borderline mean.
You could, but it would be really hard.
Yeah.
And what about like guest lecturers and guest courses? Is that something you've thought about? There must be some, well, even in the short time we've been here, we've met some real good ceramicists in Tennessee and North Georgia, and I know North Carolina's littered with them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There must be the opportunity to get some real notable names.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot in Nashville.
Right.
And I know that, like, not just with the ceramics courses, but also with the like other arts courses, like there are some really incredible artists coming in and teaching classes, like to the point where I've been following some of them and really love their work, and you're just like, yeah, she taught a class in the fall, and I was like, I'm sorry,
I went to the bar with them last night.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I've ever been more starstruck. It's fine. And I wasn't even there for it. You just told me about it.
Yeah.
So
You're like, what?
we will definitely have like some big names coming in and giving guest lectures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that will happen until 2024.
Yep.
This is 2023, right? It's all blurring together. I don't think that'll happen until 2024 because we want to get our legs under us first.
Yeah, of course.
And then we can
That's only sensible.
expand and do what we want to do.
I also think it will naturally happen with like the gallery space. Like we have a gallery space, so we'll naturally be pulling in like pretty awesome artists in Nashville who will be here for like most likely be here for the art crawl openings. And so it wouldn't be like a formal lecture style, but like part of the fun of going to an art crawl is the artist is there and you can like corner them, ask them a bunch of questions.
Explain that to us. What is it? An art crawl?
Yeah, so Nashville has this thing that they call the art crawl every first Saturday of the month, and it's kind of wildly spread out. So there are like a few different like hubs for it, and you kind of have to drive between them. But yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. You just park somewhere and you just walk blocks and blocks and blocks through different galleries.
All of the galleries and art studios and art locations all open up on the first Saturday of the month from 5 to 8 p.m. And then all of those locations are marked on a Google map, and people can go and tour open studios and see shows and buy artwork and just live the art life
kind of awesome.
in Nashville and
meet artists.
in the downtown corridor, there's like a tram they have that will take you around to several of the galleries. So you just park one place and then you get on the bus and then they'll take you around to the different art spots. So
It's a really big art scene here, isn't there?
Yeah.
There is, but TripAdvisor keeps telling everyone about the honky tonks on Broadway, and that's actually only 2 streets long.
Yeah, I mean it's fun, but like that
it's
is
fun
not
for a couple of hours, but it's like
I mean,
if it's
I know
not your scene.
we're Music City, but there are so many incredible art galleries here and so many incredible art museums too.
there's an art gallery in the soccer stadium.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
And
cool.
the woman who runs it is lovely.
So how do you guys view collaboration within Nashville, or even out with Nashville? Is it something you guys have looked at much? You know, it feels like having a retail space, being able to collaborate and feature other people maybe out with your own classes in this space. Is that the plan, or is it only to sell within the Old School Farm and the class pieces to sell here?
No, we're definitely 100% open to any creator selling their work. Our specialty is going to be creators from the state of Tennessee.
Yep.
So anybody in Tennessee can sell their work with us, and that's what we want to do. Of course, starting out, we're going to be focusing on
who's
people
here.
that we know, people that have been in here, people who are in the building, because it's just easier for us to start building that name recognition with people that we already have here.
Yeah, makes sense.
And having spent a bit of time in Nashville, you know, there's a lot of independent eateries, cafes, restaurants, bars, all that stuff. One thing I know that Red Rock does very well is, you know, speaking to the hospitality trades and interior designers about getting their product, the real Red Rock product in those. Is that something you've looked at, being able to do bigger batch production runs? Because at the moment we're talking about, you know, a lot of education going on, a lot of space and a lot of maybe one-offs or time consuming because they're so early in their learning career. But what if someone wanted you guys to commission maybe a mixed set or a full set of stuff? You know, they might want all the different students to do something completely off the wall and completely individual, or all very similar. Is that anything you've looked at all? It feels like Nashville would be a good place for that.
Sure, we're definitely looking into doing production work. Right now I'm working on a set of production wear for a local cafe, 2 local cafes, and then a catering company that we're working on. So what we're hoping to do with that is develop 4 different sets, and we'll have them displayed behind me in this little window.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Alcove.
This thing. We'll have them displayed there, and you'll be able to come in and request however many you want and go through the different glazes and pick out the glazes that you want for your wear. And that will be yours.
And how would they be made? Would they be made by the class students, or is this somewhere where your less advantaged people, your learning difficulty people, they would be able to come in and help with that?
Yeah, so they would be made by myself and then my studio technicians.
Right.
We would be making that side of things.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to burden a student with, hey, you have to make 50 mugs.
Yeah,
That'd be wild.
Yeah, there's a very fine line between overpressuring, isn't there?
Yeah,
And them then not enjoying it.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it would be us making the production wear, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get your creative need of making as well.
It does get old after you make the same shape like 40 or 50 times.
I'm not really a production potter, so and that's why.
Yeah.
Because I
It can get
want to
old.
make everything different.
At the studio I worked with in Murfreesboro, I was a production potter there, so we would just like crank things out. I would make 50 or 60 mugs in a day.
Wow.
And then we would keep going all week. We had a big clay day where we made clay, and we made 6,000 pounds of clay in one day, and then we went through it in 6 months. So we'd go through 1,000 pounds of clay in a month.
I just love how many different kinds of potters there are. Because
Yeah.
there are like the people who only hand build because they're like, I do not want to do that wheel thing. So there are the people who only hand build, and then the people who only use the pottery wheel, and like people who do production, and then people who do small batch. And like small batch can mean literally anything.
Yeah.
It's wild. I love it so much.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well is we all think of ceramics and pottery as vessels would be the overarching term, you know, bowls and cups and plates. And,
Sure.
But it is so much more than that, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your concentration on here? Is it on everything, or is it vessels primarily? Because it feels like if you're going to a class, vessel just seems to be the go-to, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think if we're getting into specifics like that, we are definitely geared and built out for tableware.
Yeah.
Like your plates, your bowls, your mugs, your cups, your tumblers, your everyday use kind of thing.
Right.
I have worked in studios where we made like massive facades of buildings. And
Oh, really?
But we're not geared for that here. Like the kilns you need for that kind of thing are like the size of this room.
Yeah.
So we had one of those. We would load it up with facades, and the kiln is big enough that you pull the inside of the kiln out of it. And it's on rails on the floor. And you load everything up, and then you push it back into the kiln. And this one was so large that while we were firing it, we could use the excess heat to do bisque fires in a kiln that was next to it.
Wow.
So
Big operation.
yeah, it was giant.
Yeah.
So we're not geared for that.
No.
We're
Do
more
we
of the
want
small
to be
stuff.
though?
Yeah. But do you think that, so you've obviously got the start out of, well, maybe not the start out, but your previous ceramic experience has been on a very industrial scale.
Right.
Which isn't that common.
Right.
Do you think that gives you a bit of a different outlook on all of this and maybe a different outlook when it comes to teaching?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Sarah knows when someone makes something and they don't like it, I'm instantly like, just throw it away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who
Which is
cares?
so hard to
Just
do
throw it
when you
away.
first start
It doesn't
out.
matter. Throw it away.
Right.
Like, that one's terrible. Okay, we'll wedge it into a ball of clay and you'll do it again and the next one will be better.
Yeah.
And then that one sucks and the next one will be better and the next one will be better.
I mean, you have to
And-
make a lot of bad work to get to the good work.
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
100 mugs to make it one good one.
Yeah.
Is what it typically is when you're learning a new
Yeah,
shape.
that's so true.
And coming from an industrial point of starting or point of origin, it seems to be that throwaway would be
Yeah. It's,
easy. They're paying you to do X amount of mugs a day. So if you spend twice as long trying to fix a mug as it would be to just
Yeah, exactly.
dump it and start again.
yeah.
I mean, the nice thing about pottery though is like it's just dirt. You just
Yeah.
you throw it all in a bucket, you throw some water in there, and eventually you can just reuse it. Like it's totally fine. It's not
Yeah.
like it's not like some other mediums where like if
Precious
your paint
metal
dries up,
or-
like you're out of luck, or like if you're painting and you're like this is trash and you scrape everything off, and then you might not be able to use that paint. But with pottery, it's like as long as you haven't bisqued it yet,
Yeah.
it's completely reusable.
Yeah, and you know, it's something that I really commended Lindsay at Red Rock for yesterday when we were with her. Everything's just super sustainable there. And it just because it lends itself to being, you know, I don't want to sound like she's not put any effort into being sustainable, because she very much has, but it feels like pottery's inherently easy to be sustainable with.
Yeah.
Now, they've got a big grinder, it adds water, the water that's coming out and draining elsewhere is coming off a sludge mat, and that's the same water. So, you know, she was telling us for a tile factory, for a pretty large scale tile factory, our water bill is the same as it would be residentially, and our waste is the same as it would be residentially. And I found that quite impressive.
Yeah.
From a point of view of we all need to be a bit better to the planet, that must be quite rewarding, especially for you guys, you know, because you'll be pumping through a lot of waste, especially being class-based setup.
Yeah, so we reclaim almost every ounce of clay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everything that people mess up, we throw into our reclaim buckets and then we wedge it out on the wedging table and other people use it later on.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you can't do that anymore.
Yep.
But it's pretty far down the road. So yeah, as far as like being good for the environment, we do a lot of stuff to try and reduce our footprint here. Like everything in the store here is all reclaimed wood. We're not tearing the building down to build a giant high rise.
Yeah.
The only thing that is carbon intensive is firing in the kilns.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everything else is pretty efficient.
Yeah, it's
And we keep it cool in here.
Yeah.
yeah, which your camera will be loving because it had
Yeah.
a few overheats
Yeah,
recently. So
Not in here.
no, quite. And what does the next 5 to 10 years look like, do you think? You know, we know that in the next 2 years you want the building next year, and we've talked about that, but what's the real grand scale plan for this place?
So we're hoping to expand into different areas of Nashville. So we're very centrally located here. We're 2 blocks from Broadway.
Yep.
Super centrally located. We're hoping to kind of branch out into the surrounding neighborhoods and have small versions of this as like neighborhood art centers where people can come in and practice doing something, just whatever it may be, and going from there.
So doing some things, or you would come away from ceramics possibly, you would do other crafts and other handmade forms, and what if someone, you know, certainly with the array of people that we speak to, what if they wanted to get in contact with you? How would they do that? If someone was like, I make leather belts and I'd love to teach a leather belt class in Nashville, Tennessee, is that something you'd be up for?
Please email me.
Yeah, they can shoot us an email.
It's
they can
just
get in contact
Sarah
like what we
at
did.
Old School Farm .org.
They can get in contact with us there. They can get us through
am,
Instagram.
yeah.
Like how we got connected. Like,
Yep.
I am talking to a leathersmith though, and I have a friend who blacksmiths who's also interested, but I feel like that
might be when we expand.
Well, I think we'll need a little bit more specialized place, but blacksmithing, that's pretty lit.
Yeah, I will make anything as long as it doesn't involve strings. I hate strings. I hate strings.
No embroidery for you.
No.
Bummer. It's so much fun.
Anything else though, I'll get into it.
You're quite open-minded to other things. Why do you think it's called Old School Farm Pottery? Is that just a pullover, or do you think that name will it be Old School, when we come back in 3-4 years' time to see you guys, will it be Old School Farm School? What do you think it'll always remain the pottery, or do you think it feels like this business model is very transplantable to all crafts?
Right, so this spot will always be Old School Farm Pottery. It won't change. When we open different locations around Nashville, it will probably turn into Nashville Art Studios, which is the name of the whole building. Like the whole building is Nashville Art Studios. So it will be like the parent for all these other ones that expand out.
Okay, so each location would maybe do something more specialist within it.
Maybe.
Which makes sense from a kit point of view, or maybe not super specialist, but certainly from a point of like there'll be one that's better geared up for pottery, one that's better geared up for blacksmith. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That'd be so cool.
That would,
Like
we're gonna do it.
Forge.
We're gonna do it.
You seem quite defined and quite set on your goals. Like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it's always been. Like, that's how it is when you make a pot. You just have to sit down and be like, I'm going to do it.
This is going to be a thing.
Sarah got to watch me struggle making some pots last week that
It was really funny.
I was so mad.
I've only ever seen you make things just like boop, 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 like you're just knocking them out. I mean, just in my experience of watching you make things, you make it look so easy, which means that it's definitely not easy. Yeah, those swirly mugs. They'll get you. I haven't tried one.
Lost it. Do you feel you've lost it?
No,
I think he's too good.
Yeah, like I don't want to toot my own horn, but you don't want to make a swirly mug.
Yeah.
Like, that is the mark of a poorly made mug if it doesn't have even walls going up.
Right.
And then to break that mindset of it being a nice smooth curve, like what my mugs are over there, and they're nice and uniform, to having these huge undulations in them that get pulled off center and then go back on center and then off center.
They're super comfy to hold.
Yeah, they're very comfortable, but like it's just a weird mindset shift that I haven't mastered yet.
It's like chattering, like when you're trimming.
Yeah, you don't want that.
If the tool is like moving too much, it creates this interesting texture around the bottom. And when you're first learning, you're like, why is it doing that? I hate it so much. And then eventually when you know how to trim, you're like, you know what would be a really cool texture? Chattering.
And then you try to make it and you go, what's it not work?
And completely destroy it. And you're like, why am I bad?
That's great.
You just get too good, and then you have to unlearn being good.
Yeah, you get so practiced.
Yeah.
I think is the thing.
Yeah.
You get so practiced, and then having to break that mindset is just incredibly difficult.
I can imagine it would be.
So before we wrap up and Kate asks her closing question, is there anything we've not covered that you feel you'd like to cover?
I know we've asked that question already, but
No, I think we've covered a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The reason
covered a lot of ground.
I ask it more than once now is because I did ask it the other day and they were like, no, nothing. And then after the podcast, they're like, actually.
Can we do a phone call?
It was just this lovely organic conversation afterwards, and you're like, that was good. That was good. I wish the whole world had heard that. And obviously, Mike's weren't on, so such is life.
Yeah. So my last question would be, I'll ask you both this question. Yeah. What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, I love that question so much. And it's always the hardest question to answer.
That's a hard question
because you're like, what did I not know? I know if we're like going back to like high school and college and stuff, I have always had a very intense love for everything art and making. But it's really, really scary when you're a kid and don't know a lot of artists, and it's hard to make that leap into being like, no, this is an actual career. I don't know. I guess I would tell baby me to keep going, and it will work out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine is just take those opportunities that present themselves to you, even if you're afraid you're going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You can't be afraid to be bad.
Yeah, it's okay to be bad.
Yeah.
And
bad is good, actually.
Just jump on it and work. That's it.
Good advice.
I can't fault that advice.
No, I can't either. So.
All right. Wrap up. I've enjoyed this. I think
Thank
we've
you
got a
very
good thing
much
going.
again.
Yeah,
It's
thank
very
you guys
different
for
us because it's
coming
not
in.
like, although you obviously are a maker and you're a maker, I don't want to take that away from, but we're not talking specifically about the making and the craft. So it's been a nice change for us, I think.
Yeah, I think you've got a really special thing, and we look forward to
It's different.
coming back and
Really
And
excited
I wish there was
about
more
it.
places like it.
yeah, me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Hey, look at that.
That just shows you it's needed.
Exactly. Right, let's wrap it up at that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very
thank
much.
you.
No, thank you.